Hi there, this is Talia the dietitian, and today I'm answering one of your questions. I'm going to read you the question and then I'm going to answer it. So the question I received from this parent was, how do I get my 8-month-old to put food in his mouth and eat it? Alrighty, so first thing to note here is the child's age. We want to be introducing solids around 6 months. That's the current World Health Organization's recommendation. That's a mouthful. Is starting around 6 months. The major sign of readiness here is that your child is able to sit up unassisted. Even if it's only for a few seconds, but they're able to sit up unsupported. And if that's not happening by 6.5 months, you might want to talk to your pediatrician about that. But I do not recommend introducing solids earlier unless it's a very rare case in terms of allergies before 6 months. And the unfortunate thing here is that a lot of doctors are not really up to date on these feeding recommendations, and a lot of them will still say that you can give your child rice cereal in their bottle at 4 months old, and I really strongly caution you from doing that. There are a myriad of reasons for that, and we can get into that in another video, but I did want to just kind of give that little bit of a background. So the point here is your child is 2 months into their eating journey. That's still really, really early. And children take the first few months of starting solids really is just getting acquainted with different foods, different textures, how things feel. And whether you're doing purees or baby-led weaning, it doesn't really matter in terms of your goal is still to let them explore the food. And it is messy. We did baby-led weaning with some purees as well. For example, yogurt is a puree. And it was very, very messy. And those first few months are really difficult, so hang in there. I know it's really, really hard. So, and I know that a lot of parents get really worried if by a month in they're not actually swallowing. Let me break that down in that next time you're eating a meal, when you're chewing, think about what your mouth is actually doing before you swallow. After you put the food in your mouth, you have to chew it, which takes a lot of muscle coordination. And then once you've broken down the majority of the food that's in your mouth, you form what's called a bolus, which is kind of what it sounds like. It's a ball of chewed up food that you need to move from the front of your mouth to the back, and then your tongue and mouth has to push it down your esophagus. That takes a lot of muscle coordination and a lot of practice for a baby who has never done that before, because the action of sucking is very different. So some children are able to swallow foods much earlier. My first child took longer to learn to actually swallow food. My second baby did it by 8 months she was, but my older one took longer. And that's okay. If they're putting the food into their mouth, they're practicing, they're feeling the textures, they're getting exposures. Those are all really great things. They might swallow a little bit of it. Sometimes it just happens by accident. And they may give you a very surprised look on their face, because that's a very new feeling, having a solid food go down your throat as opposed to a liquid like milk. So keep that in mind as well. Keep it in perspective. So one of the top recommendations I have is to sit and eat with your baby. Obviously, your food might look a little bit different, even if you're eating, for example, a potato. Let's say you are doing baby-led weaning and your child has a finger-length piece of potato for them to pick up and put in their mouth. Your potato might be a whole potato, a baked potato, or whatever it is. It might look a little bit different, but the point here is that you're eating together and you're modeling that behavior of you're going to use a fork or a spoon for yourself, and you might have someone on for your baby if you're doing spoon feeding, or if you're doing letting the baby do it themselves. They're going to pick it up. They're going to copy you. That's what they do at that age. And it's just experiential, where they're just learning what to do with it. But by seeing what you're doing, you are the best model. In fact, there's quite a bit of research that shows one of the best ways to help children try new foods is by the mother modeling that behavior, which is you sitting with your kid and eating the same foods together. So right from the beginning, try to make that a priority. I know you can't do it all the time because, there are dishes that need to be done and there are other things that need to be done around the house. So don't beat yourself up if you can't do it every time, but try to make it a priority for at least part of the meal that they're eating, to be sitting with them and eating something as well. And remember, at 8 months old, your baby's probably only really eating one meal per day. And think of that really as exploration. At that age, it's after they've had a breastfeed or after they've had a bottle, so that they're not hungry, because they're going to get very agitated if you put them in their chair hungry, because they don't know how to swallow the food yet, and they're not going to be able to satiate themselves. And before 12 months, milk really is their main way of getting calories and nutrition. And we're going to build up the skills by giving them opportunities to play with and explore food for 1 or 2 meals during the day, and then you bump it up as they get more proficient. And I will do another video where I talk more about introducing solids. But I really hope that helps. So main take-home messages here: know that it's okay if they don't swallow foods right away. It takes a lot of practice, and by setting them up, giving them one or 2 meal opportunities per day, we're giving them that time to practice. And the second major thing is to sit and make it a priority to eat together or with your child, and not to worry if things don't get swallowed just yet. It will happen, I promise. So I really hope you found that helpful, and if you did and you learned something today, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have lots more Q&As and other nutrition topics that I'm going to cover. So please subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. And this is Talia. Bye-bye. I really hope you enjoyed that video. Here are a couple more, and remember, I'm going to be posting a new video every week, so subscribe so you don't miss them.